everybody. Good evening, everybody. Today is Wednesday, April 7th, 2021, and welcome to this week's edition of Dialogues with Doc. I am Dr. Calvin Green, and I am so excited to be bringing this awesomely great content to you guys each and every week. Each and every week we go up and we go up higher and higher. So just thank you for rocking with me each and every week. For those of you who have been rocking with me from the beginning since August, I appreciate you. If this is your first time, I appreciate you as well. Thank you for just hanging out with me for this evening with my awesome and amazing guest that I have coming on to share more about her and her story and the awesome and amazing things that she is doing out there in the world. You guys know each and every week I try my best to bring you awesome and amazing content. But before I do that, there are some housekeeping rules. So you know what they are. Please like the broadcast. Please comment during the broadcast. Please share the broadcast. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button at the top for me as well. Also, for those who don't know, I have recently started a podcast version of this show as well. So you have the live show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. There's also a shortened version or an abbreviated version of the show on my Dialogues with Doc podcast, which is available on Anchor FM and Spotify. So do me a favor, check out and support your boy on Spotify and Anchor as well with this podcast. I will do my best each and every week to provide just a snapshot of what we talked about with my guests on my panel each and every week. So I'm just so excited to be pushing out great content and have great guests on to share with me each and every week. Also, you know, if you are rocking with me, I like to know where you're watching from. So if you're watching in the chat, go ahead and let me know where you're watching from. I want to shout you out. As you know, I'm in the DC area. So I am, of course, holding it down for the entire DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Your boys got your back. I'm here. Hey, Khalif, good to see you, man. If you're watching the show tonight, let me know where you're watching from. And I want to make sure I shout you out and give you some love as well. Just a reminder again, please like the broadcast. Please share the broadcast. Please comment. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe for me as well. I'm trying to get my subscribers up as well as I do some amazingly great things on this platform each and every week. And for the last 6 to 9, I think it's about 8 months, no, 9 months I've been doing this thing now. So I'm just so excited to be doing this each and every week. And I'm just so excited to have you guys rocking with me. Please let me know if you can hear me. I don't want to give you guys Teddy Riley tonight because I got an amazing guest coming on. So I want to make sure you can hear me clearly and hear her clearly as we get ready to jump into the conversation. Hey, Demetria, thanks for joining. Louisville, Texas is in the house. I'm in the DMV, but I'm from Oak Cliff, Texas. So I am that DFW, born and raised. Dallas in the building. Rico, what's going on? Thanks for joining. If you're watching again, just let me know where you're watching in the chat. I want to make sure I shout you out, give you some love. And thank you guys for just rocking with me on this evening. As you know, Dialogues with Doc is a show that I came up with during COVID. I was bored. I needed something to do. I want to provide a platform to just have awesome and amazing conversation about different random topics. So if you've been watching, we've done parenting in a pandemic. When we had some pastors on, we did pastoring in a pandemic. We've had some Black male educators, some Black female educators. We've done some mental health. We've done some shows on just dealing with special populations in schools. And last week, I even had the awesome and amazing Miss Anita Wilson on as my guest. So this week is going to be like none other. I have another amazing guest to follow up and take me up another notch each and every week as we do this thing called Dialogues with Doc. But of course, you guys know, this is Dialogues with Doc. There's only one way that I can bring my guest on. And my guest tonight, I want to give for the awesome, insane, amazing privilege to be brought on the exact same way. So give me a moment to bring my guest on. Perri, how are you?
Yo, I listen. Look, I'm so excited for you. First of all this and the graphics is amazing. So I'm so glad that you are creating all this content, doing it. This is beautiful.
I'm trying my best, sis. I'm just trying to be the conduit to just make some amazing things happen. So I'm honored that you said yes to come on and join me because you are doing even more. Just you on the. I mean, I'm trying to get to your level. Let's start there.
We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna underestimate. We're not gonna downplay because what you're doing is dope. So we are going to, pat ourselves on the back for all the victories for what we are doing. Exactly, that's what we're doing. We're not doing all this. We're here. Nope, we're doing our thing. Period. We all trying to level up. Okay, we all trying to level up in our own way. So
exactly, and every time we get to that level, there's another level for us to get to in another one. Yeah. It's like Mario Brothers. I'm trying to get to the castle.
Listen. Okay.
Y'all, I have the amazing Perri Camper joining me on this evening. This is like, okay, so let me be honest. This is like a show, but it's like a family reunion, honestly.
It is.
It's like this is a show, but this is my friend. This is my girl. This is we go way back, and it's just amazing to have her take time out of her schedule to just say yes and join me. So, sis, I am so thankful for you. Thank you for your gift. Thank you for what you're doing. And thank you for saying yes for joining me tonight.
Thank you for thinking enough of me to even ask me. So it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. So.
Listen. So let's get this thing going. And if y'all are watching, comment, share. I know y'all are gonna show the love. Show my girl some love. Let her know you're watching. Put comments in the chat, share, and all that kind of stuff. And we'll make sure and if you have questions, put those in the comments as well. We'll get back to those. So let's start off simple. Okay. Tell us a little bit about Perri Camper. Tell us about you.
Dallas, Texas, born and raised to a wonderful family. So, my mother is number 3 out of 10. And my grandparents, actually today, my grandmother, she, bless her whole heart, but she's not here in the flesh anymore. So, but today, my grandparents' anniversary. So anywho, so born and raised in Dallas, Texas, and we were always at church somewhere. So we were raised in the church. The first time that I knew I wanted to act or do anything was during the Easter speech. It was one speech in particular that I did. They had like the thunder rolling was the drums and the lighting was putting the lights back on. And so when the congregation was doing this, I was like, well, I think I like this. I like the instant, gratification or just of watching the audience, and me, give myself and be vulnerable to what it is. So born and raised there. I went to school in Pleasant Grove. Where did I go? I went to Nathaniel Hawthorne. Then I went to John B. Hood Middle School. Then I went to Lincoln High School.
LHS.
Did radio television there. Had an amazing time there. Then, of course, University of North Texas. And after that, I moved to New York a little while after. And then now I'm in LA. I work for BET Network still. I still act as well. I did theater in Dallas. And so I enjoy going to plays, of course, live theater. I enjoy being with family. And I enjoy just having a good time, chilling too. Yeah.
So you've been doing this thing for a minute. Like it's crazy because we never know growing up that doing the little Easter speeches at church and the Christmas pageants, prepare us for things like this. And we're just doing it. Number one, mama made me do it. Go over there and get your little speech. You're like, I don't want to do no speech, boy. If you don't go over there and get the little speech and then get on it and then lights, camera, action, and we just do it, and the fire is lit, and we never realized early on that this is what I was called to do.
Absolutely. We just know we were told to do it and do it over and over and over until it was perfect for them. And then we'll get hit here and there if we didn't do it the right way. And then not knowing, hey, you know what? Okay, I get it now. I get it. They didn't know either, they just knew we just want to see your best self. They didn't know it would, fester into all of this. So, yeah.
And it's crazy how we reflect back, and it's like we even remember some of those little speeches and stuff like that. Or we might not remember them verbatim, but we remember different bits and pieces of it. Like Sunday, I woke up singing, what's the song? He Rose from it. I'm like, why am I singing this song? I'm like, why am I? I'm like, this is like the Easter song that I just remember from a child. It's crazy how stuff never leaves you, and you get bit by the bug, and you're still just blossoming in your gift, which is just so awesome. I want to go back to this North Texas thing, and I'm only doing this because they were just in the NCAA tournament. So,
right? They upset some people. That's what I'm talking about.
Didn't it? Texas upset a whole bunch of people.
Did, because Baylor won and beat out the number 1 seed. Anyway, but anywho, yeah.
Listen, can you tell me what made you decide to go to UNT? Like, you could have went anywhere, like, but UNT is where you ended up and where you you got your footing. You became grounded there. You did some amazing things there. And was that a hard decision for you to decide to go there? Were you going somewhere else, or?
So the place that I had in mind was Howard, but because how we grew up and, staying close to home. And at that point I was a little afraid to leave. I did have Howard in mind, but my uncle and my aunt, they are married now. My uncle Marcus and my aunt Kayla, they both went to North Texas, and they met there. I think it was like North Texas State at the time. And so I remember my aunt Kayla telling me, okay, so listen, you've been homecoming queen. You were the captain of the cheerleading squad. So now you have to go to North Texas, and then you have to pledge Delta. And I was like, all right, cool. And so so for me, it was already embedded. And when she said that, because she had followed that's what she had done. And so I was like, all right, cool. Well, it's 45 minutes away. So it's close, but it's not too close. We didn't have mobile phones or anything. That I didn't have a mobile phone at the time, and we had to use that rotary phone. But so I felt like it's enough, to just get away. But then still close enough if somebody got to come and get me.
Exactly. No, you're right. Like, it's just that, because I started at Houston, so it's like just to be able to get far away, but not too far, but still be able to get home if you needed to. So it's like, I totally understand. And then at UNT, were you involved in the arts at UNT as well, or were you just?
I did. I studied radio, television, film. That was my major. Radio, television, film. We also, there were some things that we did with television news and things like that. So it was a part of that. But yeah, I was always in radio, television, film, some type of way, taking classes, and then learning how to edit, which is antiquated at this point. But just doing some different things there. So yeah, but I don't know if I was always interested in it. I just don't know if I believed in myself enough to know how far I could go with it. So it was almost like, I love this, but this is probably it, at least I'll have some type of knowledge, because I did it at Lincoln as well. At Lincoln, we were interviewing the original Destiny's Child, Jason Weaver, Mace, Fifth Ward Boys. They all came to Lincoln because it was a magnet school and it was humanities and radio, television. So I actually, Hillary and myself, we actually started interviewing people at Lincoln High School. So that's when I knew I wanted to continue with radio, television, film.
Wow, yeah, I remember. What's the everybody at Lincoln, the backdrop that you take the picture in front of?
Oh, the tiger. You know. We paid $1 for those pictures. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah. A Lincoln picture when they got that back. Listen, y'all were doing big things at Lincoln. I was at Skyline, but y'all RTV department was like, people went to school for RTV. Like Lincoln prepared them to be in front of the screen or to be behind the screen, and that's what I love about the program. And it's crazy because you're someone who I admire, because you have been in the trenches of this thing for a long time, meaning you were not a career changer. So some people find their way eventually. You've been doing this thing since high school. Like, this is what you knew that you wanted to do. And that's just such an amazing story to hear your journey, because for some of us, like for me, I'm an educator now, but that wasn't my track. I was a business major in college. I was going to have my own business, and God flipped it, and I ended up being a business teacher.
See, you still in business. Yes.
So it's like, go ahead.
No, but don't get it twisted, because I still listen. Because my mom was just like, hey, so you do know that you need some insurance. You need a steady paycheck income. She was, she's one of those mothers like, this is what you need. You need to learn how to save, So I had to go and get a job. So I was at Bank of America. I was at Children's Medical Center. I was at UT Southwestern. So I was all in the medical field. I was a teacher. But I taught theater and music. Mm-hmm. But so don't get it twisted. I was still, on this journey, making it work, and again, not knowing that I would be here. So yeah.
I'm reflecting, and it's crazy because when I think about just talking to you now, we've known each other for like over 20 years because I'm spring 02 and you're fall 02. It's like, and I met you through Keisha, so it's like we grew up in church together. So it's like this is like
absolutely
crazy.
And then we reconnected in the DMV area because I was in New York, and then was coming down with Devon and Shannon going to their events, and then we would see each other there, and it was like family. Oh my God, they had already become family, but and then just seeing you was just the icing on the cake. So
listen, we've been riding for a long time. So I got to ask the question: what's it like working for BET Networks? Inquiring minds want to know, and I'm still mad they left DC, but I know they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, I think I had just gotten there when they were closing DC. I think I was there for like a year because we did Joyful Noise and we did it in DC, and then I think they closed the following year, and then just New York was the headquarters. But let me tell you something. It's so funny because I love reading the comments. Sometimes I have to stay away from comments or whatever. Because it's always like, BT ain't black no more. BT is not this. Let me tell you something. It's probably two people that's not black there. Okay. The rest of us, they don't really bother us. They don't really come. We continue to do the content. We are the ones that's pitching and listening to the pitches and things like that. But I will say in my department, because I can speak for my department. My department, my boss, I work in specials, music, programming, news. So specials, all that entails BT Award Show, Soul Train Award Show, Hip Hop Awards, Black Girls Rock, NAACP Image Awards. Any award show that you see, my boss is over that. And she puts, she's executive producer for that. And when I tell you that I'm learning so much because we work very closely with Jesse Collins Entertainment and his production company. So I'm learning. There's so much that I'm learning. And I really enjoy, and I really believe too, is because of who I work for. I really enjoy being there. It's crazy. Don't get it twisted when it comes to the hours, when we're in rehearsals, with talent and things of that nature. It's a lot, but it never feels like work to me. It just is always, it's what I want to do. It's never, to me, I can't say it's not stressful at times. I would just say sometimes I can get overwhelmed with it, but it's still nothing that I would rather be doing at this moment or whatnot, as far as being in the field of entertainment. And so it's and again, it's like family as well, because we're together so much. We're together more than we are with our people at home. Then we're together so much. So it has become like a very much of a family oriented type of team. And I enjoy it. I really do. Of course, there are always things that I know that can be better and all of that. But that's why I'm like, hey, you know what? Create your own thing. Whatever you want to see that's better, create it, because you have to deal with, sometimes you have to deal with the politics. But but I enjoy it. I enjoy being able to see rehearsals. I enjoy being able to learn behind the scenes. I enjoy being able to troubleshoot, figure out logistics, and to say, okay, looking at everybody, just sitting back and listening. Oh, okay, this is how you do it. It makes me a better actress. It makes me a better producer. It makes me a better, if I'm going to become an executive, it makes me a better that. So everything I'm just making sure I put in my toolbox, and I'm learning and I'm appreciating all of it. And the things that I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, if it doesn't make sense. So, yeah.
Now, have you always been in the same area, or did you elevate to this new area?
Yeah, so I started out as her assistant, and we realized, her name is Connie Orlando. And so we realized that we needed each other. When we first met, I didn't go for a job. I went for an informational, and I got hired on the spot from an informational, just to ask her about acting and picking her brain. And I sat there, didn't have any money at the time, was about to do something strange for a piece of change, no lie. And I was like, but the Lord was just like, we ain't gonna let, come on, we ain't gonna let that happen to you. No. So so we met, and I was trying to ask her about acting and things like that, and just didn't, I didn't know what was gonna happen. And got a job offer immediately, and we have become like this, and we realized that we needed each other, and now our relationship has blossomed. I say all that to say she doesn't have me as her assistant anymore, because I'm acting, because she knew that's what I wanted to do. But I used that season to just serve her, to learn, to do whatever I needed to do, put acting aside because I felt like I could still learn here, and was glad to be in that position. And then later, so she elevated me to get her another assistant because she allows me to still do my acting and still do my auditions and still work, So, yeah.
It's amazing how we have these aspirations and we don't know how God is going to maneuver and switch the plan to make it work.
Right.
You said you went for an informational and it ended up in a job offer. Yeah. And then she has kept you around long enough to know that, hey, the sound, Hezekiah Walker, I need you, you need me. We can't do this without each other. So let me position you where you're still able to do what you want to do and still work with me. And then the part you said about the serving part, so many people don't want to serve.
Yes, that's the important part. It is so important. I think a lot of people want it instantly and they just feel entitled. And I'm like, I've never felt entitled to anything, still to this day. Like, I'm always like, I'm always just more thankful, but it's not, this sense of entitlement of this belongs to me. And I'm just like, but says who though? Like, who says? And, people just like, know your worth and then add tax. That's cool. But just make sure you put in some work first before you start, you know what I'm saying? Before you start adding tax. And I'm like, well, what can you do? And I'm like, I need a refund. So it's just one of those things of making sure you're good with serving, because it's such a blessing in it. I'm not even trying to sound all deep or whatever, but it's such a blessing in serving, because then you get so much back than what you even thought or could expect, And when you do it and not even think about it, but you just do it because your heart is in it, then it's just so much more that you receive from it, and not even looking for it, but it just keeps coming to you, and you're just like, oh shoot, oh well, thank you, okay, so yeah.
It's crazy because some people don't understand, if you can serve, then you can lead.
Hello.
So many people want to lead, but they haven't even served to even learn what it's like to be at the foundational point or the grassroots of it, to be able to understand what it means to actually become a leader. So Mr. Orlando, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Like we thank God for people like that who just pour into us, and they don't even know what just being around them is just enough to lean and glean from them, and learn and glean from them. So no, it's important to have. And I was going to ask about mentorship and stuff like that, but you already covered it. No, thank God for people in professional settings who still take the time to do that, because so many people don't do that.
Yeah, it's so trying to make sure they get their thing off the ground and get their thing moving and all that kind of stuff, where they forget, hey, listen, you still pour back, because that's really how you get. It's reciprocity. That's what happens when they go out. You can come in and all that good stuff. So yeah.
I'm trying. I'm trying to tell these people that if you can serve and you can lead. People don't understand that. Like, it's so simple. I mean, I hate to sound. For you that don't believe, I'm sorry, but I believe. If Jesus can serve, I can serve. I'm gonna leave it there and keep it moving. Look, where am I going now? I done got thrown off because I need to put that comment up there.
It's good.
I'm gonna go here because I'm doing my research. So I want to apologize. I didn't know you had another title as well. So I'm gonna throw it up there. You carry a lot of titles, but what's it like to go from an actress to a producer? So I have actress and producer Perri Camper on with me tonight. How did you make the transition, and tell me how that's been for you? Because that's a huge undertaking.
It is. And so, but for me, what because of what I've learned, seriously, when you realize you have all these tools, you don't even know that you are going to use them until you're in the situation. And that's what I love. So going to producer, I knew it was logistics, and I knew it was about, okay, how do I do this? How can I troubleshoot? So for me, I don't focus more on the creative. I'm about the creative, but I have the director to focus on the creative. But for me, I don't know. I like putting puzzles together. I like putting pieces together to make it make sense. And so when I was acting and producing in the same film, I honestly put acting to the side, and it was my first time producing. So I wanted to make sure, I wanted One Happy Camper people to feel great on set, to people to have a nice something to say great about it when they left, to have a good experience. They didn't have to worry about this, that, and the third, not waiting around. Because again, I've been in all these situations. So I always think about, okay, what can I do to make sure this doesn't happen? And it's not always perfect, but there are different things that you could think about. And so for me, I had another producer alongside me, and we worked in tandem and so closely together to make sure we had this, that, and the third. I think I didn't even look at my script until maybe 2 days before, because there were things that was happening and we had to, troubleshoot, and we had to say, oh, and we had to problem solve. And so I didn't look at my script 2 days before, but when I did lock in, I told her, I said, so listen, this is all you now. I got, we got here. I'm about to go into another mode, and I'm just going to only focus on acting. And that's what I did, so that I could commit to the character. But yeah, it's different, but I feel like it makes me a better actor, and then acting makes me a better, it goes hand in
hand. I love it. Because, and I mean, some people can't make the transition. For some people, I feel like they can make it, but it's like someone has to push, like, okay, you need to go over here now. For some people, it just comes naturally. Like for you, it just comes naturally. You're able to work in both veins, and they work in tandem together. We're able to see this builds upon the other, and I'm able to put more things in my tool belt on at the ends of both spectrums. Yeah. So I love how you put that.
Yeah, now, I don't direct though. So, and that's what I'm saying now. And people are like, you should try it. I'm like, I'm good. Don't worry about it. Like, let me just.
Don't look. Now you are okay. Now watch God had you directing your next movie.
You know what?
Because you said you didn't want to do it, and He puts us in uncomfortable situations. Yeah. So
I'm aware. I'm aware. Yeah.
Just call me to be an extra.
Okay.
So this pandemic has changed a lot of things for all of us, especially for someone like you. How has life changed for you personally and professionally because of it? I do know working in the entertainment field, I know you guys had it was like the world stopped completely professionally for many of you guys, because we don't know what we really can do. There's so many CDC regulations and parameters and so many people working with productions and things like that we have to be safe and cautious. But for Perri, how has things changed for you?
Well, when it first hit, I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm working at home. It's all good, whatever, eating biscuits and pancakes and, just doing the food. And then once it kept going, I was like, wait a minute now, because I really do believe I'm an introvert living in an extroverted world. So I know how to, be in an extroverted, but I feel like I'm an introvert, so it was cool for me at one point, but then at some point I was just like, okay, I from going from 18-hour days sometimes and 12, 14-hour days and being amongst people and eating together and watching rehearsals and moving, traveling on planes. And I was like, wait a minute, I miss that, and I miss that, I miss being in the office, and I miss the whole production, the live production of it all. And then with acting, that stopped too. I'm like, well, wait a minute, I really just started booking these roles, and now, and so I'm trying to build up my resume, and then all of a sudden it just goes on pause, it goes on a halt where there's nothing happening. And then I wasn't one of the ones that's just saying, if you don't learn anything in this, or if you didn't get your hustle on in this pandemic, then something wrong. No, feel what you need to feel, because this was different for everybody. This was the first time we've all experienced this, having to be locked down. So I wasn't focused on, well, I got to make sure I'm this. Now, there were times that I'm like, okay, Perri, now you got to force yourself to, you can't stay here. So now you got to kind of force yourself to get back into some type of rhythm, so you're not, being monotonous or anything like that. And so, but yeah, it changed. And even now, I still miss the element of being around people and being able to brunch freely. And, now everybody is wearing masks and I've done a few things since the pandemic, and but it's different now. Like, you don't even sit together much anymore, or you have to be 6 feet apart when you're having lunch, or you have to fit, elbow bump, and it's different even on set these days, but and I understand people are, they want to keep us healthy, and I really appreciate that. It's just different. And my heart is really in it, my heart is in it, and so it's different. And even business wise is we're zoomed out.
I'm zoomed the hell out. Like, I'm over it.
I don't want to listen. Yes, Angela, this experience has definitely been different for everyone. So it's just however you were able to survive it. Just as, if we could say we survived, I'm all about, what we survived. And now, we're trying to find a rhythm. Things are slowly opening back up. I'm still encouraging people to be safe and everything. And, our good old state of Texas, they just, your governor just like, huh? But
he said spring break coming and we about to get this money, and they was all at the Rangers game the other day. I'm like, y'all
don't get away. I don't know about it, but
it wasn't just them. I saw some of us at the Rangers game. I'm like, y'all are crazy.
Yeah, I'm just like, just be healthy, be safe. That's all I got. That's all I'm like. Wherever you go, be safe. Yeah, we all just account for our own selves. So.
Exactly. I love how you said, I love how you were just saying how it was great working at home. I was the same way. But then I found myself doing more work at home.
Listen.
Like for me, I had just finally gotten to a good home work-life balance.
Yeah.
And I was finally leaving work at the school. I would come home, relax. I would leave my computer at work, everything there. COVID hit, get your little white box, take you some items home for about 2 weeks. Okay, I'm at home and things are going well, and I'll do my work. I'll take my walk, come back in about 8 o'clock. I'm like, I forgot to do so-and-so. Let me open my laptop back up, and here I go again. So trust me, that whole thing of being at home was great initially.
Yeah.
But then you're like, okay, I'm over Zoom. I'm over Google Meet. I don't want to do any more Microsoft Teams. I don't want.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Angela, you're right. Zoom fatigue is so real. Like we zoomed out. Yeah. I miss the connection with people. I miss seeing people. I miss Apple haven't invented the eye recognition yet because I'm tired of putting my mask down.
Right. Oh my gosh. At this point, and I agree. It's just one of those things where it's just like, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? So and yeah, you're right about being zoomed out. Like we're just zoomed out for sure. So yeah, it's different. But that's when you have to make your own schedule and say, you know what, I'm gonna make sure I still have Calvin time right here. I'm not opening up my laptop and because that's what I had to do. I was just like, nope, because this, your job will consume you the entire day because now it's there with you, but you have to like break up a space or make a space to say, this is where my relaxation resides. This is where I'm going to sit here and I'm going to chill, have me a glass of wine or do whatever I need to do and all that good stuff. And actually, and with the pandemic, therapy helped me too. Like I started going back to therapy. So that helps because, but it's hard because dealing with, you can't really, you inside and then you having to deal with all this stuff because now you're forced to deal with some things. And it's just like, wait a minute now, this is a lot. Give me 1 second. So, but it still helps because it's just like, all right, well, I can still go through the healing process if I need to hit something, then at least I'm in here and I'm not hitting nobody and I'm hitting this bag or whatever because I realize that I'm still, I realize this traumatic event or this trauma, and then, trying to heal from all of that. So yeah.
I love it. Cousins, they keep up the good work.
Thank you, cousin. Thank you, Ty.
No, and I love how you said the thing about the therapist too. Like I'm an advocate of therapy. Like there's nothing to be afraid of. I wish our people would understand that. Like there's nothing wrong with having a therapist because I get tired of talking to myself sometimes. Like let me pay somebody to listen to me and try to give me some sound advice that I may possibly use.
Yeah. And sometimes your job pays for it, So I also utilize whatever they have for you. I would utilize that as well. So, but yeah, a therapist definitely it is helpful for me during this pandemic. And I will, of course, I'll continue. But, I stopped for a while, but then this was like a great time because of my schedule. But this is a great time to just say, hey, let me go and revisit this and found me a really good one.
Love it. I love it. So I'm gonna go here. I want to talk about length versus strength. Okay.
Okay.
So let's talk about length versus strength. Tell us about your first audition when you got a no, and your first one when you got a yes. So you haven't been doing this long, but you've been doing some amazing things.
So I don't even remember the first no because
okay.
There's so many no's in this business. Don't even get it twisted. Because it could be like you don't have the right look, you don't fit with this family. They want a more of an East Coast accent, dialect, or there could be different reasons. It doesn't have to be because you can't act, but it could be, and I had to realize that. But and then I knew that too because I was, privy to be a part of conversations with our casting team when we were doing it, for BET. So I understood. I love being a part of both. Standing, and then it's just not like all in my chest. I mean, it still stings, but it's just like, all right, now you gotta let that go and focus on the next one. You have this gift, and it will make room for you. As it has before, and it will continue to make room for you. It's just, you just have to be, and it's crazy because you think about how sometimes people choose jobs where you get to dictate what you do, when you do, how you do. I have to have somebody else say yes to me. And that's the hard part. I have to have someone to choose me. And I'm just like, and so when you're not being chosen, you can feel away. You know what I'm saying? But then you have to understand why. You just have to say, cool, that wasn't for me. That they wanted to go with someone else. Congratulations to whoever got it. All good. I'm still gonna root for them. I'm still gonna watch them. And that's just what that is. And then you just like you keep believing you're gonna get yours. But yeah, this industry is, oh Lord. It's built with a lot of no's. You will have a lot of no's, and then you'll have some wonderful yeses, and that makes you appreciate the yeses even more. Like, whew, all right, thank you.
And I love how you said a lot of times it's not you, it's how they typecast the character. So you were great, but we want somebody younger, or we want someone with a British accent, or we want someone dark skin. I love how. It's like it's a no, but it's like there's a rationale behind. Like damn, you were good, but we want somebody that's older or someone that can fit with this family or that family. But I want to talk about one of the times you did get a yes. You already know where I'm going. I am such a huge fan of American Soul. You were on American Soul as Mrs. Dolores Cornelius.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. So let me just preface this by saying, if you guys have never seen American Soul, go on your jailbroken Fire Stick and put it up. I know you got a Fire Stick that's jailbroke. Go ahead and put it up and just watch it. So I love the entire concept, and I had no idea you were a part of it. And I'm gonna be honest, when I was watching the episode, I'm like, wait a minute, is that Perri? And I'm like, yo, no, okay. Let's talk about it. How did you even end up in that vein? Like, tell me about that. Yes. How did that yes
go? Okay, so listen. Mind you, this American Soul, BET put that on. So the casting director, my sorority sister, Robbie Reed, I love her so much.
I have heard her name so many times. I would love to meet her one day. In the atmosphere.
Got you. Okay. So when you come to LA, let me know. So she started to have me read with other people before American Soul even started. I was a reader. And so I basically would just read the lines for the people who are actually auditioning. But then one day she looked at me and she was like, wait a minute. So wait, you act? And I'm like, yes, because I never really, even though when I was in that role with Connie, the executive assistant, I wasn't around here like, I'm an actress, y'all, because I really didn't believe in myself, to be honest. And I was just like, I don't have really too much of anything on my resume, so I'm not about to sit up here and tell people I'm this actress. So and then I wasn't just confident in it at the time. And so, the insecurities, I was just like, so anywho, which I would say, listen, whoever's on here, whoever will watch this, do not ever underestimate yourself and do not downplay yourself. Seriously, understand what your gift is, live in it fully. Don't dim your light at all for anybody. I used to do that, and then I had to stop. So live, love, living your whole light and living your whole truth. All that, like seriously. But anywho, so Robbie, she actually saw me reading. So then she felt like when American Soul was coming up, she said, "You really remind me of Dolores Cornelius," which she's still alive now. And I would have the honor and the pleasure of speaking to her before I even step foot on set to honor her role in it. And so she had me to be a reader. And she had me to read in front of the executive producers, in front of Tony Cornelius, who is Don Cornelius's son, in front of my colleagues who had never seen me act before. I'm the reader. So they were looking, and when I'm reading, I'm not just gonna read. I'm gonna give you something, because if this is what we doing, this is what we doing. Because now I can play. Now you gonna ask me to read? It's playtime, because
you done invited me to the party, so I'm here.
Listen, yeah, and I'm not gonna take the attention away from who's auditioning, but I'm gonna make sure I give y'all a good audition for these people so they can have something to work with. So mind you, they only see me as an executive assistant. That's it. They don't know that I'm an actress. Robbie does, and Connie does, but they don't know this. And so as I'm reading all these different parts, they're all looking at me like, wait 1 minute. So where was this? Like, seriously? And I've been around these people for years, with the exception of Tony Cornelius. But I remember reading for his mother. And as soon as I sat down, and it was with Saint Croix, the one who's actually Don. It was with him. And I sat down because, again, I'm reading all the parts. But Tony Cornelius looked at me and said, "You are my mother. You embody her strength. You embody, her softness, her gentleness." He was like, "You an actress?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so he was like, "You remind me of my mama." And he just kept looking at me. And I almost had tears, because for someone to say I remind them of their mother, and their mother is still here, and we're doing a story on his father, but he loves his mother so much. Like it brought me seriously to tears, to where, you got that lump in your throat, like, "Perri, you better not cry. Don't you drop not one tear. You better just keep it professional right now." And so, that lump was just right there, and I couldn't swallow. And I was just like, "Thank you," And so, but it was Robbie's, she was intentional about it the entire time, so they could see. And so they can put me in another space instead of just an executive assistant, and see that I did have a gift. So by that time, I'm reading for the crackhead. I'm reading for Dolores. I'm reading for the choreographer. I'm reading for everybody. And, I went from being a BET employee to where they told me that I needed to leave the room, because now I'm being considered for the role. And I was like, wait, I go from listening to people negotiating contracts, talk about this, that, and the third. And then they're just like, "Hey, can you leave?" And I'm like, "Me?" They was like, "Yeah." And so what happened was, I was like, all right. And again, Robbie was intentional in doing this. And so they all were just like, "Yo, we didn't know. Like, we had no clue. Robbie, we thought you were just saying this because we thought it was we thought you were just trying to get her on because she's Connie's assistant." And they was just like, "No." And they was like, "We had no clue." And Tony kept saying, "She's my mother." And so what happened was, I went to New York for Black Girls Rock, and I won't ever forget, I was on the rooftop. We had just left rehearsals. I was having dinner, and Robbie called me, and she said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was just like, "Oh, we just left rehearsals for Black Girls Rock. We are about to, I'm about to wind down for a second." And she was like, "Well, would you like to accept the role of Dolores Cornelius?" And I screamed from the rooftop in New York. And people were looking at me, and I was just like, "What?" And I was like, "Yes, of course." And so, and I just kept saying, in New York, I was like, "Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God." And I called my mom immediately, but she had too many questions, because she like asking all these type of questions. And I'm like, "Listen, lady, I don't know all the answers. All I know is they offered me a role, and everything went so, that's all I know. That's it. And everything went so quickly. They were just like, "You need an agent, you need this." And then I became overwhelmed at that moment. They was like, and I'm like, an agent, mind you, I'm new on this side. I got everything on this side of BT. I know all this, what to do. I'm problem solving. Okay, yep, you need this. You know, I'm quick with it. Over here, I'm just like, what, you know, and so. But that's why I always say I know he is a God of suddenly, because it happened just like that, and it just happened quickly, and yeah. So that's how that happened.
And I will say, like, and just the whole backdrop of the production and the show was just so amazing for Tony to be able to just tell his dad's story, and then for BET to back it, and then the way they brought in Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams, and people to portray Gladys Knight and K. Michelle and other different. Boy, Eddie Winslow. I remember, like, when they brought the people into Darius McCrary to portray these legends, and just the way you can tell a story, but then you can tell a story in a negative way. The way it was just touched with such a standard of gentleness and care and respect. I love how it was portrayed, and even and I can tell, like, some of the connections amongst the cast were real. Like, it wasn't like we just showed up to work. Like I mean, I think I saw, like, you with Kelly. Either you were at Kelly Price's birthday or something like that. Where I'm like, this is like they make connections for life. Like, things like this connect you with people where you never even realize going in the door. I'm just here to work, and I'll leave with a family.
Yeah, I still stay in contact with my castmates. Period. Point blank. We talk. Some of us talk daily. We play dominoes on our phones. I mean, it's just one of those things to where we're in class. Oh my Lord, my mom is on. Oh Jesus.
That's right, Mama. Have questions.
Yes, so much. We'll have questions later. I can't. I'm not doing this one. So I love her so much, but Lord Jesus. But yes, our connections are real. They're very real, you know. And so and that's what you love when you're able to have, because then you're going through a journey with other people who understand and who know exactly what you're going through. And they get a lot of no's as well. And we're auditioning, and sometimes auditioning for the same role. And we are honestly, it's serious when we say, yo, we're rooting for you. We're rooting for each other. If you get it, honey, let me tell you something. This is it's not where we're coveting each other or we're low key trying to hate. Because we all know, listen, we're in this together, and a win is a win for all of us. When you're connected to each other, it's going to trickle. It's going to trickle down. So yeah.
If one wins, we all win.
We all win. We all win.
And it's crazy because even looking at the cast, it was like y'all were all handpicked. Like I can't picture anybody. Like, you know how it's like, I'm gonna date myself. Grew up in grandma's house. You know, it's like if the Young and the Restless ever tries to replace Victor Newman, it's not gonna work. Just like when Miss
my children, so it was Adam and Erica.
Yeah, like when if Adam and Erica died, you can't replace them. So
exactly.
The way that they put the cast together for American, so it's like I can't imagine anyone else being Dolores Cornelius. I can't imagine anybody else being Don Bustin' Quiet. Like, this is just it's just crazy how it all came together. So I was a fan. I'm still a fan.
Yeah.
You broke the news to me, but I'm still praying. I'm gonna still pray that something happens and something changes where it comes back on my TV, because I need my girl to be working on that project again. Because if it does come back, can't nobody do it but you.
Thank you. Well, let's pray we get on more projects. How about that?
Oh that too.
Yeah.
What's been your proudest moment on your journey thus far?
My proudest moment, I think for me, just continuing to evolve, I believe, and being able to take care of myself and still being grounded and still making sure that my faith does not waver. That's been, so what was instilled in me and what I've learned from me as well, my relationship with the Lord as well, just all of that of who I am is just, I don't think it's anything I can say that's tangible or anything. It's just like becoming who I am and living in that, and not worrying about what I used to worry about, or what would this person think, or do I live for this person, or do I need to do this? But just really being, just being good with who I am, and for
Being good
real, being free. That's,
being good, being content, being confident, because you got it. Like,
yeah.
we're our own worst enemy at times when we
Yeah.
walk into rooms and we second guess ourselves, and it's like, okay, God, you placed me in this room for a reason, but here I go into the room second guessing myself in the room that you put me in. But all we got to do is pray and not allow our faith to waver, and just keep remaining persistent and dedicated and tunnel vision. Like, so you,
don't get it. Listen, let me say this. My faith has wavered. Okay. So I don't want anyone to think that, oh, I've always been this whole strong. Oh, no. Like, I've had questions, and this is me. This is how I say, a lot of people, they're just like, don't question God. I'm like a David. I'm a question. And at the end of the day, yet will I trust you. Yet will I love you. Yet will I know that your ways are not mine. But I'm going to say, look, I don't understand this. Well, why does this happen like this? Why can't you just do this? And why can't we just, but at the end of the day, that's me and my human mind. And I believe he honors it because I'm honest. You know what I'm saying? I'm honest with him. I'm honest with myself. And I had to learn that. And I learned that in New York, to be honest, and not because he already knows what you're thinking anyway. So then I'm just going to be honest. And so, I'm proud of how my mind I've kept my mind in a good space. It's in a crazy world. So yeah.
He kept my mind. Don't get me started, because that mind will take us out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So how did you? This is something that's popped in my head. Making the move from New York to LA.
It was really making a move from Dallas to New York, but
okay, give me that one. Give me that thought process.
So I was at the Treasure U conference that Pat Smith does, and it's a women's conference. And I was like, I don't have money to go to this conference, but I got a scholarship, and I was supposed to be there. And real quick, the abbreviated version is I was there, and I was selected for someone to do my vision board. And so the lady, I cannot remember her name, but I have a picture of her, and she was just like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, because again, in my mind, I'm like, well, I need to say what these people want to hear, what these women want to hear. And I'm like, oh, I want to help the children. And she was like, no, what do you really want to do? Oh, I want to help the elderly. No, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to have my own nonprofit organization. Okay, what is it that's in your heart and your passion to do? I want to act. Thank you. Great. So then she starts talking about, let's act, act. What do you have to do? And I was just like, well, where I want, the way I want to act, I really want to learn more and go deeper in it. So I would have to move to New York or LA. And she said, well, what's stopping you? Well, I don't know anybody there. She said, and that's fine. What else is stopping you? Well, I don't have a job. She was like, what do you do now? I said, I teach. She said, well, you could teach in New York or LA. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to come up with all type of excuses, and she's not hearing any of it. So she was like, okay, where would you go? New York or LA? And I said, well, New York, because that's where theater is. And that's where you really, they're serious. And that's where you really go into the methods and all of that. And so she said, okay, so what do you need to do to go to New York? I don't know. I don't know the first thing. I've never visited before. And so she said, okay, well then, you got to find an apartment, find somewhere to go to school. And I was like, okay. And so, and I'm just, all this is happening so fast. And in my mind, I'm thinking, my family is not about to be okay with me moving to New York. And I'm scared. Like, New York, the concrete jungle, what y'all talking about? And so then we just laid out this whole thing. So I was like, I'm moving to New York. Wait, I'm moving to New York? Wait, whoa, okay, yeah. So then the next day, that Sunday, Bishop Jakes, we all went to the Potter's house, and I was going there at the time. He preached a sermon, and I promise you, it was about, having to go away on your own journey and leaving all the family that you know. And it was confirmation for me. So I was like, I'm moving to New York. I did not tell my mother at first. I didn't tell anybody at first. I was like, I would have to save this money and see. And the only people that knew were the people that were at that conference, because then they would say, hey, I know this place is for women. You can stay there. It's safe, all this good stuff. I applied to school there. And again, I'm just saving money and I'm not saying anything. And then finally, I think I can't remember, my mom can tell you, but it was maybe 6 months or 7 months before. Then I told her I'm moving to New York. And that's when it became real, is when I told her, because it actually came out of my mouth. All this other time I was just working in silence. And when it came out of my mouth, you know, and I think she wanted to see, let's see if this is going to happen. And I bought my one-way ticket, left. I moved to New York without even visiting. I knew I was moving to New York without even visiting New York. And so I moved there, and I promise you, Dallas is where I'm from. New York, that's where I grew up, though, as far as like mentally and spiritually and all that good stuff. That's where I grew, you know, a lot, and became, you know, just this person who I loved, who I was. And yeah, so I moved to New York. And so for me, the trip for LA, or moving to LA, my job moved me to LA because, again, my boss was like, you're going to eventually have to go to LA for what you want to do, because here's just theater. And both of us relocated to LA. And so, you know, that's how I ended up coming here. So, yeah, our jobs relocated us.
I love when you talk about faith, and I'm moving somewhere I've never been before. Like you said, I've never even visited New York before. I just see the pictures, I see the movies. This is a faith move, and God, I'm trusting you, because I don't know nobody. I don't know where I'm.
My only thing was, okay, you know what? I don't know anybody. But what I will say is, as long as I know you're there before I step foot on New York soil, I'm all right. And I was good. And then when my mom and my cousin, my older cousin, when they left, I'm not gonna front. Like I cried. I was just like, well, all right then. When they left me in that room, because it was where I stayed for 4 years, Calvin, was like a dorm room. Okay, it was like,
oh wow,
I stayed on a twin size bed. So you talking about some sacrifices. I stayed on even when I got my job at BET, I still stayed on that twin size bed because I was traveling so much. I'm like, no, I want to be smart and I want to make sure I save. So I slept on a twin size. It was a sink, and it was like a little closet, some shelf space. I had my laptop. I didn't even have a TV. You had to share the bathroom areas, the area of the showers. You had to share the kitchen. I went back to a dorm life, but I was fine. I felt I was fine. I
was content.
I was content. I was, you know, so that's when people were coming like, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. I'm like, I was in my 30s. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the nuns are standing on the second floor, real nuns, okay? Stand on the second floor, and we can't have company. So I'm not even trying to, I'm like, yo, okay then, whatever, you know, so yeah, but.
It's like, God, I'm content and I'm trusting you, because I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm going to just stay right here for as long as I can until you move me and look at, and now look at you. Like, the sacrifices that you made have just catapulted you to where you are now, and you're such an amazing individual, and you're doing so many amazing things, and I love it, and I'm so proud of you. I'm just honored to be connected to you, and I know that you got some other stuff coming down the pipeline. So what's next for you? What's coming down the line for Perri Campbell?
So Lust is coming on Lifetime on Saturday.
This week.
Saturday. Yes, this Saturday. So I think that's 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's coming out. That's with Carrie Hilson, Tank, Tobias, Clifton Powell. So it's based on the 7 Deadly Sins. It's about the 7 Deadly Sins, the book. It's written by Soror Victoria Murray. And so they optioned her book and made it into a movie. And so Bishop Jakes is actually one of the executive producers on it. Sean Robinson is on it. Derek Williams is on it, producer on it. And so, yeah, so it's coming out this Saturday. I have not seen it, so I'll be watching it at the same time everybody else is watching it. But I'm excited about it. And so, yeah, that's what. Oh, and then later on, I did a piece on domestic. Was it domestic? Yeah, domestic abuse or domestic violence, but that doesn't come out until October, I believe. I think that's the month. So, but I'll make sure I keep posted on my social media, like that.
Definitely. And One Happy Camper is thriving and moving.
One Happy Camper, we're working on. I don't even want to say it, but I need to say it real. No, I said to make it real.
Oh, okay.
I did a short, but I'm now working on a feature. So we're in the development stages of a feature. So just pray we can get it funded and all that stuff. So yeah.
Already done. We just waiting on somebody to sign the check.
I know. So yeah, I'm excited about that, but that's in the works.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been my one-on-one with Miss Perri Camper. Perri, how can the people keep up with you?
So Perri Camper, I'm so easy. Social media, Twitter and Instagram, both Perri Camper, PerriCamper. And then Facebook, Perri Camper. I'm just Perri Camper across the board. So
everywhere. I love it.
I'm seeing all these Charles Dillon.
Oh, yeah, that probably Charles. Thank you, man, for watching.
Thank you, Charles. Oh, thank you. It's good to see your face in the picture. You know, yay.
Demetria,
sister. Thank you. That's my sister.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I have had the awesome and amazing pleasure to have my sister and my friend join me this evening for Dialogues with Doc. This has been another amazing show. She's told you what's happening, what's coming down the pipeline. Lust this Saturday on Lifetime. Make sure you watch it. Make sure you like and give her comments and commentary and all that good stuff for the amazing things that she's doing. Stay tuned to the other amazing things that she has coming down the pipeline. This has been this week's edition of Dialogues with Doc. I will see you guys soon for another amazing edition. Perri, hold on tight for me, okay?
I will. Thank you. Okay. Thanks.